So welcome to our webinar about what makes a Gold Pack winner. Vanessa and I have done this last year, and we got feedback about it, and we've fine-tuned it and made it a little bit more pointed, hopefully for you to get even more out of this if you did watch the webinar last year. But if this is your first time in, hopefully you'll get lots and lots of good guidance about what to do and how to enter the Gold Pack Awards. But first of all, a little commercial. I need to thank our sponsors that are supporting us, that support the Gold Pack Awards. Without them, it certainly would not be possible. The entry fee and the cost of the ceremony itself, actually, we battle to break even. In fact, the ceremony normally runs at a little bit of a loss because we throw everything at it. And the cost of running Gold Pack is quite expensive. And hopefully this afternoon we'll give you a bit of insight as to why and what effort goes into running Gold Pack. So we are extremely grateful to our sponsors who literally day by day, the list of these people supporting us is growing. We've had 2 or 3 new sponsors just in the last few days. And an inquiry literally 10 minutes ago, I received an inquiry from another potential sponsor. So interest in Gold Pack is high this year, and we're expecting lots of magnificent entries. So what are we going to go through this afternoon? Vanessa and I are going to mutt and jeff it just so that you don't get too bored with my voice all the time or with Vanessa's. So we're going to start off, we're going to explain who the judges are, who the judging panel is, the process that they go through for the judging. We're going to give you some specific tips of how to select your entries. How do you go about choosing which of your packs or processes you should enter, and then how to present them to us, how to put them together to put them into the entry, and then specifically the online entry form. What's needed from you for the online entry form, listing the entrance, the permissions required, the costing, what support information, a bit about the samples, and most of all the most important thing is how you go about paying for your entry fee. So that's sort of the topics we will cover as succinctly as we possibly can this afternoon. But of course, everything is available on the Gold Pack website, www.goldpack.org, note the org.za. There's a dedicated standalone Gold Pack website that has all the rules and all the normal bureaucracy, but even more important, it has a page about tips for your entry, which actually approaches exactly what we are going to talk about this afternoon, but in a very example way, giving specific layout and some more ideas about how you go about putting your entry together. And then, of course, the entry form, the online entry form, is accessed through that website. So we'll move on into the presentation proper and talk about the judging panel. Some of the judges are actually online with us at the moment and to listen and even participate when we get later on to our Q&A session. But there's a point in actually, it's not just promoting who these people are, but to you as the potential entrants and participants in the Gold Pack Awards, it's very interesting to see the diversity of who these judges are. So I'm not going to give you their entire CVs, but just a little bit of a snippet of actually who this panel and who it's made up of. So we start in alphabetical order with Anna B. Pretorius, who's worked in the plastics industry for more than 32 years. She's the Executive Technical Operations at Plastics SA, and her brief is to develop local and international trade information critical to the success and growth of a sustainable and vibrant plastics industry. And then we have Boipelo Mondosela from Petco. Her title there is Value Chain Officer for Petco. And Boipelo is passionate about driving innovative and impactful environmental solutions, fostering sustainable practices, and ensuring compliance with environmental standards and legislation. A key new person on our panel that we're very happy to have and excited to have her. Gunnar Sigge is the Associate Professor and Head of the Department of Food Science, Stellenbosch University. In addition to his work with many professional associations, he has supervised over 14 PhD and 16 master's students and he's published many articles, peer-reviewed articles, that is, and participated in many local and international conferences and seminars. And then we have Jane Maloney, known to many of you, who's Executive Director of the Paper Manufacturers Association of South Africa, commonly known as PAMSA, which manages the pre-competitive and mutual interests of pulp and paper manufacturers, namely education and skills development, environmental and sustainability issues, legislation and research. In addition to her paper technology knowledge, Jane has a fine arts degree and an IMM marketing diploma, giving her a unique eye for design and marketing as well as her technical knowledge. Then we have Janusz Lucerik, a lawyer, a partner at Hahn & Hahn Attorneys. He began his career, interestingly enough, as an engineer in food science and technology. He sort of gravitated into becoming a qualified attorney, and he has now become a leading practitioner in packaging law and related matters. A worthwhile name to note when you have any legal issues to do with your packaging. He's probably the most knowledgeable legal packaging person in the country, in my opinion. Then we have Ralph van Wyk, doyen of the packaging industry. He served as many years as managing director of Impact. He maintains close ties and a relationship with the industry and follows developments with a keen and experienced eye. Amongst his consulting services, he also participates and enthusiastically contributes to the Institute's education programs. Ralph has served as the president of Packaging SA. He's been the patron of the Institute of Packaging, and he was invested as a Packaging SA Packaging Achiever in 2015. Good qualifications. Shabir Jetam, he's both the executive director, the current executive director of Packaging SA, as well as the CEO of the Glass Recycling Company. Shabir entered the recycling and waste management sector, leading the commercial and marketing functions for Collectacan. From there, he moved on to the Glass Recycling Company, and in 2018, he took on the additional role as the executive director of Packaging SA. Then there's Susie Moore, who's online with us this afternoon, well known to everybody. She's the publisher of Packaging and Print Media magazine, colloquially known as PPM, and has been in the packaging media for 33 years. She started, of course, when she was 5 years old, I think. She's a fellow of the Institute and is the current national chairman of the Institute of Packaging. Then we have Vanessa van Holt, my co-presenter this afternoon, whose current title we just make up from day to day. She'll probably be surprised when I call her Marketing Director of the Institute of Packaging. How about that as a title, Vanessa? You like it? She has twin qualifications in marketing and packaging management. Her career included the position of marketing manager with Nampak. I'm abbreviating her title. It goes on for about 2 lines when she was with Nampak. She has since consulted to Packaging SA, and she's recently rejoined the Institute's team in roles in marketing and education. Then we have Wendy Knowler, a consumer journalist. She's currently News 24's consumer journalist. Wendy has for many years specialized in this role as consumer journalism, and she currently writes the In Your Corner column, breaking news stories for several print titles, and presents weekly consumer radio features on 702, Cape Talk, and East Coast Radio. She has a particular abhorrence of misleading labeling, watch out, greenwashing, watch out, and irresponsible packaging practices. She makes herself very vocal on those issues. And then those are the judges that actually will judge online and then meet in person. And then we have sort of phone a friend. These people do online judging. They do scoring, and I'm going to explain that shortly. That's Charles Muller, who was immediate past chairman of the Institute, has a long career in plastics and packaging space in South Africa. He sits on a number of industry executive committees and boards, and he served as executive director of Packaging SA. And he was invested as a packaging achiever in 2018. And then finally, we have Kishan Singh, believe it or not, is yet another PhD qualified panelist. I'll leave you to guess who the others are on our panel. And he serves as the National Education Officer of the Institute of Packaging SA. He was the first South African to earn the international designation of a certified packaging professional, the highest designation that we're aware of in the world for packaging professionals. Amongst his many roles, he's currently CEO of Medpack SA. There, I managed to get through them. Just the purpose of that exercise was to tell you how broad our judging panel is, and from a number of different places. In addition to that, if we ever run into a problem, we have a process called Phone a Friend. We have specialists in the industry that we can phone and query things whilst the judging process is going on. So how is that judging process, and how's it going to work this year? The first thing that's going to happen is we start an online scoring process. And believe it or not, this starts even before the closing date of the competition. We start on the 21st of July, which is a week before the closing date. So the people who submit entries early, they get the undivided attention of the judges, because those are there are fewer entries to go through, and the judges have access to them, and they can judge them in a much more relaxed manner. But then once, so what do they look at? They're judging online at the stage. So they get presented with the entry form as you see it on the right-hand side. This is a screenshot. And then they have scores that they put in on 5 different categories. They put in out of 10 what their score is, and it gives it a total score. That save food category, if the entry is flagged as a save food entry, or the judge believes it should be considered for save food, they put a score in there, and they can add any comments that are made available when we get together as a panel. The purpose of this does not serve to rank the entries for the final result. All this does is draws the judge's attention to issues around the packaging, so that when they get together and they're in the room, they've seen the entry, they've considered the entry, and when they look at it, they're not looking at it for the first time. When they're sitting down at the table, they have the actual pack in front of them, and they have the other panels with them as well. So that online scoring starts then. This is what they may see if they click on that entry form that I showed you on the right-hand side. I chose this particular entry from last year because they used the maximum space available. I'm not expecting you to read what's on the left-hand side there, but maybe Vanessa will zoom it a bit. You're not meant to read that, but you'll see the first paragraph there are the 50 words that you have for the feature, and then your motivation is 300 words. That's what 300 words look like. Now, you're online. Imagine you're a judge and you're looking at that. That's a daunting task when you might have 100 entries that you need to go through. So my appeal to you as a potential entrant is consider what you put into these cases very, very carefully. That first paragraph, that's your main features, the title of that, that we give it is the key features. And how many words is it, Vanessa? Am I right? Is it 50 words?
50. And yeah,
50.
The 50
So
for that.
Those 50 words are critically important as to what you put in there. If you say, this is a unique piece of packaging and it's the first in South Africa and it's fantastic and we're very proud of it and the clients are happy, the judges are going to go, so what? What's it about that entry that's so fantastic? Where's the magic? You're looking for the magic in those words. Remember that they are looking at 100 other entries, and they just want to know is, what's it about this entry that I should be looking at, that I should be thinking is the magic? Almost bullet points would work in this particular case here, to put in there what's going on. I put this packet of real live entry from last year, and the people who entered it should be quite happy about it because they did quite well, actually, considering that they filled the space. But what they wrote there was pertinent and relevant. Then the motivation is there to support it. That motivation. See how they've broken it up into paragraphs. It's really cool. The judges, it makes it a little bit more friendly than just the bulk of copy. We do lay this out. We do try and help you when we present it to the judges. We create this PDF. You don't. You just give us the information to work with, and we will then present it to the judges in the most friendly format. You may not believe this, but our role, our job is to actually help you win. We want the entries to be fantastic. So that was the one example, and you noticed how many photographs they supplied of their entry. This is the entry that actually won the overall trophy. This was from Keypack. You see that they didn't use all their words for the motivation, and the key features were there. what was interesting about this is, and Keypack will forgive me if there's no one from Keypack, I think, online at the moment, but they might watch this afterwards. So with apologies to Keypack, when they entered this, I really got the impression that they thought this was a printing competition, because they talked about how beautifully they had printed this particular container. The judges, bless those judges, when they got online, it didn't score very well, by the way, in the pre-scoring. When they got together in the room, they opened up the pack. They used the pack. This pack, when it opens up, makes an ice box. You pour ice in it. The beer cans open up and they display. You pour the ice. It makes a fantastic display. The way it operates, the consumer engagement on this pack is fabulous. It really is good. And the judges played with the pack and went, wow. They even left it overnight to see how the ice would affect the board. And the board lived up to that challenge. And that's what impressed the judges so much. They looked at it all. Not a lot of that was in this motivation. So my feeling is they were incredibly lucky that they somehow hooked the judges' attention. And the judges got involved with this pack and examined it way beyond what the entrant thought they were going to do. My question to you, my challenge to you as potential entrants, are you willing to take the chance that the judges will by themselves discover what's magical about your pack? My appeal to you is throw it in their face. What's magic about your pack? It's not just a printing competition. Where's the magic in your pack? It's a full rounded, and we're going to talk about this a lot today, a competition about what the packaging is all about, the art and science of packaging. So that's one of the entrants. What happens next is, where are we? We've been through the online scoring. The closing comes along. We close the entries. They carry on scoring online. Just as a note to you, the 4th of August, which is just 5 days after the entries close, we are looking for the money. Show us the money so that we can know we can go ahead and judge your entry. And then also 5 days, working days, after entries close, we need the pack samples. Why? Because just 5 days later, we start the judging in person. So your packs need to be gathered together, taken to the venue, and prepared for the judges. So these deadlines this year are a little bit hard. Extensions are going to be, well, I was going to say difficult to achieve, impossible. You're just going to miss the judging if you don't make that 4th of August. We're 6 weeks away from that now, if not more. Yeah, 6 weeks away from it. You have to get your process going now to achieve these deadlines, to make these deadlines. And when the judges convene, they meet in a room around a table. They have books prepared with them with the written entry form. All the support information is in the file. Everything you supply to us is there. The packs are put on display around the room. As you can see from the picture there, they get up, they look at the packs, they examine the packs, they play with the packs, they tear the packs open, they test them as if they were consumers, and they sit, they deliberate, read the documents, and argue with each other. And I mean, argue with each other about the pros and cons of the packaging. Remember that each judge is coming from a different field and they're looking at it slightly differently. So there we go onto what are the judges actually looking for when they're looking online. Of course, they prodded and to look at different things to give the score. Then when they're sitting around the table, these are the sort of things that the judges look for. And it makes interesting reading and to encourage you to absorb what this is all about. So they're looking for any, I've underlined any, new or innovative or creative design, marketing, and technology applied to packaging in Africa, the full continent. So those pauses were purposeful. So it's new, innovative, or creative. Notice we're not just saying it has to be new. We're not just saying it has to be innovative. We're saying it's either new, it's innovative, or it's creative. Or it could be all three. A lot of people think it's got to be brand new, never been seen before. What we're really looking for is the excellent application and execution of packaging. So you've got an excellent piece of packaging that actually has just broken some barriers in terms of quality. It could qualify if presented properly to the judges. And also, it's not just about one issue. It's about the design of the packaging, the graphic design, the functional design, the format of it, the marketing concept behind the packaging. Is it promoting some particular marketing position or marketing strategy? And is the packaging aiding that marketing strategy? And of course, in packaging, it's got to be technology. The technology is not just about print. It's about substrates. It's about how the carton is erected, how it's transported, how it stacks in a warehouse. Throughout the supply chain, there's technology. And it's applied to packaging in Africa. Why in Africa? The competition of Goldpac is split into two parts. There's South Africa and Africa. So it's quite possible that you enter the Goldpac Awards and you're producing a pack in South Africa and you win a gold medal, but that pack, the same product is exported into Africa, you can win an AfriStar medal as well. If you happen to be working in a company that has a production facility that converts packaging outside of South Africa, you can enter the AfriStar Awards, interestingly enough, at no cost outside of Africa and win an AfriStar Award. If you pay the entry fee, that same entry could win a Goldpac as an AfriStar Award, as an out of Africa type of product. So that's what the judges are looking for. I've gone on long enough now. I think it's time for a change of tone. And Vanessa is going to go through some of the more critical aspects about how to go about selecting a pack and presenting it to us. Over to you, Vanessa.
Great. Thank you so much, Bill. We'll now be taking you through some points to consider in choosing the best packs to enter and how you make each entry really stand out and dazzle the judges. What does that take? So first, we thought we would go through just briefly chatting about how to select the best packs to enter. We've put the slide here, is my pack a contender? So first place, you obviously need to start by looking across your business. And I'd encourage you to talk to your sales department, production, logistics, all the different departments to see what packs they believe have really stood out for a particular reason. What packs have made a measurable difference or positive impact in the current market environment? Those packs will easily stand out and be measurable. You're also looking for packs that required thinking out the box, a little bit of creativity or innovation, packs that break the mold of that particular market category or perhaps of that type of material that they fall under. A pack that shows a real solution to the challenges. So you need to think about what the challenges were, and then how does that pack demonstrate what we talk about, the art and science of packaging? So how is that applied to overcome those challenges? Often there's great innovation specifically or in specific materials and material science. So packs that use a particular substrate most effectively to meet challenges. And how did they do this? It creates a compelling story. And another...
Can I just interrupt there for a moment, Vanessa? Just talking about the substrates, I started off talking about sponsors earlier on. What's very interesting is the PROs, the producer responsibility organizations that are substrate driven. You'll notice on our list of sponsors, they feature greatly there. And what happens is we are saying to those people, because they're major sponsors, okay, one of those sponsors, whoever they are, Metpac, you may sponsor the best in metal category. And they choose what it is that are the criteria for their metal award, the Metpac SA award. And of course, it's going to be around the objectives of Metpac. So it's encouraging the Metpac members, who are the converters, producers, users of metal packaging, to enter the awards to meet the needs of Metpac SA, similarly with the other PROs. So it's worth bearing in mind, if you're a member of one of those PROs, which as the producers of packaging, you should be a member of a PRO. The PRO that your company is involved with, you can actually help to promote that PRO, as well as promoting your own packaging by meeting their objectives. So it's another way to say, is this pack a contender? Sorry, Vanessa, I'll keep quiet now.
Thank you, Bill. No, great to have that add-in. So the last point on this slide is just design for recycling, or if there's a pack where you've applied circular economy thinking, and specifically where you've applied the design for recycling attributes or tool to actually change that pack. That can make a compelling story if you can validate and justify how the pack has increased recycling rates or improved collection and the recycling process as a whole. So look out for those ones. And of course, packs that reduce food waste. That's another key issue and key driver within packaging and within the whole waste economy and circular economy right now. So look for packs that do that.
It's me again, Vanessa, interrupting. Sorry, I apologize. The design for recycling, if any of you are saying, what are these design for recycling guidelines? I refer you to the Packaging SA website. That's where you will find it. It is also on our websites, but it's easier to find on Packaging SA's website. And correct me if I'm wrong, but their food waste papers are also on that Packaging SA website, I think. Otherwise, you'll find it on SAFOS's website. And it is, we use those guidelines, we refer to them in the judging process as well.
Yeah,
Thanks,
and we'd
Vanessa.
happily send those out to anybody. If you're looking for some of those guidelines, please be in contact, and we'd be very happy to send you all the information needed so that you can tick those boxes and check those against your entry if you've got one in that category. But yeah, so now moving on to what makes your entry stand out and dazzle the judges. So just starting off, remember that GoldPak is a packaging competition. There are a number of competitions within the South African market, within the global market. A lot of those are print competitions. We specifically are looking at packaging. So if your entry has many merits in its beautiful printing, and we get a lot of these entries coming through, think about and be able to motivate and justify how that printing adds value to the pack overall. How does it work with the rest of the packaging? How does it enhance the functions of the pack? And that might be from a communication point of view, from a branding point of view, from a standout on shelf point of view. But you need to talk about those aspects, not just that it's a great print. Bill showed the example of our overall winner last year, which was beautifully printed, but we looked at, and as you saw, the judges are looking at the pack overall. So they looked at how that pack fitted into Castle Light's brand offering, Castle Light's offering, and the functional side of how long could that pack hold the ice? Could it, it didn't need to go overnight, but as we said, that was an extra rigorous test we put it through. So think about and remember, you've got to actually talk about it as a pack, not just the printing element. So once you've selected your packs, you're going to need to consider which market category they fall into, because that is the way we judge. We judge by end-use market categories, and that's really as packs would have to live up in the competitive environment of where they're selling and where they're gaining market share. So you need to consider the functional packaging needs of that specific market category that you're entering. The market categories, you might be reading through them on the slide. They also are available on the website if you need to have a look at that. But you need to think about what your packaging needs to do in that market category. And remember, in a category like beverages, and we split beverages up into alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages, but a wine pack needs to do something very different to what a spirits pack will need to do, or a beer pack. They're completely different markets within that broader market category. So you need to give thought to that. Just a point to make, there are the categories that are listed. We do sometimes find as judges where we get a high number of entries in one particular category that isn't one of our listed categories. This happened last year, for instance, with promotional packaging. We will then, as judges, decide and create a specific category for that, which is what we did, and group those entries together. Then coming to special awards, entries are also considered by the judges for special awards. We have a few standard special awards, something like the AfriStar, which Bill spoke about. It's a competition in itself for packaging that is produced outside of South Africa, but we have an AfriStar category for packs produced inside or within South Africa, but that are exported to the rest of Africa. So we'll be looking at those. And then, as Bill said, they're the Best in Material Awards, PRO sponsored awards, and there also are special awards that the judges will pick out, things that really interest them. We had a special award last year that we awarded for the Shakabola porridge that was made by the gentleman and packaged by the gentleman up in Pudicichaba, if I'm saying that correctly. But that was something that really stood out to the judges as an interesting story. So if you want to be considered for these awards, the point here is to make to you is, in your motivation, remember to talk about why this should be seen for a special award. Why is it, you know, a Best in Paper award? Or why is it a Save Food award? You might also want to look through the World Star special awards categories to get some ideas, because if you win an award in Gold Pack for one of these special categories, that can go into those World Star categories. So remember to include that information in your motivation.
Me again, Vanessa, sorry, if I may. Just on what you're saying, I have a view of how to talk about that, because it's quite difficult to say, well, is my entry capable of winning one of these special awards, and which one? The simplest way to approach that is, what's the magic in your pack? You know, it's come from you, it's part of your company, part of your process, part of your strategy. What's the magic? What's that standout feature that's making it so special? Promote that. The judges will reward what they think is fantastic. If you convince them that there's real magic there, you're going to get rewarded for it. So it's looking at it from another point of view. What's the magic in your pack? Tell us about it.
Yeah, great. Okay,
Thanks.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit now about what are the tools or what are the ways to add that standout effect to your entry. And the points that we're going to discuss come from many years of experience of judging, and also points that are raised by our judges that Bill and I go through at the end of every year and following year of how their judging experience was, points that we write down during the judging process, seeing the judges' reactions. So hopefully by giving you insight into some of these, it'll give you more guidance in putting together winning entries. So first and foremost, your attention to detail in your motivations and everything you put forward in your Gold Pack entry is key. In your motivation, watch out for waffle, broad statements, repetitive statements. Often we get these from other motivations where a company has entered 3 or 4 entries, and it's easy to see that the same lines have been copied and pasted across. And yeah, that just doesn't look good, doesn't read well when you know you've read it before in another entry, and the judges pick that up. Poor spelling and grammar. Your motivation needs to read well. It needs to be interesting, engaging. It's got to captivate the judge's attention. Right from that first point, as Bill showed you earlier, when the judges are looking at it online, those key features and those points you put in the 300-word motivation are so important. The second point on that slide is your samples. Please check your samples before submitting them. Check the quality of the folding, sealing, the print on that sample, on that pack, any labels or tapes that are adhered. We've had packs that have come through where tape has been adhered, I don't know, maybe just to collate the packs as they were sent to the Gold Pack judges, and that tape's not even part of the packaging and covers the key print area. So be careful of things like this. ease of opening, ease of resealing, if that's relevant to your pack. Make sure the samples you send in can do all those functions that you're talking about easily. And also make sure you label and explain where necessary in that labeling on your samples. Sometimes you might have had to fill that sample with something different from the actual product that gets sold in that sample. So just explain that to the judges. If there's easy open or resealing features or stackability, highlight on the samples you send in. You might want to, put a little sticky note or put a sheet that goes with the sample and explains all the aspects. And then the last point on that site is photographs and video clips. These need to be clear and they need to show the best features of your entry. We also this year have decided to encourage entrants to include a video clip up to 2 minutes in length, but it's just a tool for you to highlight the specific features of your entry. These are often obvious to you, but not that obvious to the judges. So it's a chance for you to quickly, and sometimes that's much easier to do in a visual way than in writing it, in a text way and writing way. We're not all great at writing. So it's a chance for you to get that message across through that tool of the video. So you can use that. Just thinking about your motivation a little bit now specifically, it needs to, as I said, be engaging. It needs to build a captivating story that's going to attract the judges' interest and build their confidence in your packaging solution as they read through that motivation. A good place to start in ensuring that you get the whole picture or the whole story across in your motivation is to ensure that you've consulted with all the stakeholders who were part of the team that developed the packaging solution. There's often positive impact from seeing the benefits that each stakeholder has experienced with the packaging solution. So try and include comments and statements from the whole team. And this might be from the designer, the converter, to the brand owner or retailer, and actually right up to the waste picker or recycler. They've all got a story to tell about your pack, and that will really build the story if you include that. Motivations so often and almost most often fall short of facts and figures and measurable benefits. And we hear this coming up again and again with judges. The motivations include broad statements, but don't actually convince the judges or do justice to the entry. It's one thing to just say sales have increased or market share has increased, but where you can give measurable detail. So include comments and the actual facts around cost impact, cost efficiencies in logistics. What were the percentages? How were those achieved? Actual material savings, if you can show that. Facts about recyclability, again, percentages, changes in that. Not just saying that the pack is recyclable. That comes up very often too, and if you don't include evidence of that, trust me, the judges phone a friend and check. If you've said your pack is recyclable, they make sure, is it recycled in South Africa? Recyclable and recycled in South Africa are two very different things. So include that. Maybe include, where it is actually being recycled currently. So often we also receive entries which talk about improvements, but the judges have no way of knowing what the improvements were made on. So what was the old pack like? And judges are often, they say, have they submitted the old pack? Can we have a look at the old pack? So we really encourage you, if you can, to send in an actual sample of the old pack if you've made improvements. We know that not everybody keeps those old pack in actual samples, but please then try and go through your archives and find pictures of the old pack, because it makes such a difference. It elevates what you're trying to say if you can actually show old versus new. And then lastly, with promotional packs, try and show the specific promotional features and elements that have turned that pack from a standard pack into a promotional pack. So all you're probably thinking about, and all the team has been focused on, was creating this promotional pack. But remember, it's a promotional tool for the brand owner. So what is it in the packaging that you're submitting and your packaging solution that actually elevates it from being a normal pack into a promotional tool? And again, if it's a promotion that's run over the last year, try and show us the stats of what that promotion did, what the increase in sales was, or the gains in market share. Show those facts and information.
Me again, Vanessa.
Yes.
I was just thinking what you were going through now. I'm sure that many people who are listening to this are thinking, but this information is confidential. This is not for publication. We don't want our sales figures out there and exactly how we went about the promotion and what the mechanics were. We appealing to you to trust the Gold Pack judges and trust the Gold Pack organizers. If you put not for publication, this paragraph, whatever, we do not publish it. It's only used by the judges and they deal with it confidentially. Nothing that the judges discuss in that room or outside of the room is ever goes to people speak about outside of that room, no matter what it is. But particularly if you say not for publication, we certainly won't be putting it in the winner's brochure or anywhere else, and no one will ever talk about it. But the judges will use that information in coming to a decision, and it'll be worded in such a way that this impressed the judges with its success. Fine, but those are the judges that you need to impress. And as I say, the words not for publication, we take extremely seriously. Thank you, Vanessa.
Thanks, Bill. Yeah, okay. So a good way to make sure you've thought through the full impact of your pack solution is by considering its journey throughout the full supply chain, from conversion of the pack to consumption by the consumer. And it's going to go through a supply chain to get to the consumer, and finally to disposal and recycling in the waste stream. Often packs are only motivated for their benefits in one area, such as efficiencies on the filling line. But the judges are actually looking at that pack throughout the full supply chain. They're thinking about how it would function throughout the supply chain. So try and put that case study forward, put that information forward so they're not having to guess. And again, where you can show quantifiable and measurable facts there. Then you get an option to put in additional and supporting information and documents. And really there, if you spend some time just making sure that you put in documents that you think really might interest the judges, help build your case study, build what you're trying to sell in your motivation. I spoke earlier about the feature we've got this year where you can upload a video clip. So again, spend time thinking about how do you really show a clever opening or closing device, and how do you show that clearly on video to get the judge's attention in doing that. And remember to highlight any specific design features in your motivation. As we've said, there are lots of tools and ways that you can point this out to the judges in your motivation, in your support information. And if you've improved the usability or user experience for the consumer, think about how this is communicated to the consumer on pack and give evidence. So an easy open feature, often you know that it's easy open, but the consumer doesn't instinctively see how to use it or make it function in a more easy open way. So, and that's something, as Bill said, our judges are very conscious of on-pack communication. We don't just read the motivations, we read and we look at what the pack is saying, because the consumer needs to understand how to use the pack, how to dispose of the pack, why it makes it easier, why it makes it clever, and we're looking for examples of where this is done. So highlight those facts in your motivation. And then just a point to make that the judges will soon see if an entry and its motivation has simply been copied from elsewhere. So we do get entries where a company has bought and or is applying licensed knowledge or technology. Those are allowed in the competition, but be sure to detail what it took to make it work in South Africa. Why do you, the South African entrant, deserve the credit? And you need to build your case study around this. That's what the judges are going to be looking for. Okay, now I'd like to move on to what we call the red flag effect. What are the things that you might put forward in your motivation or your samples that actually just create a red flag for the judges? And we honestly see this. Entries just get taken off the table and not considered further. So what are some of the things that do that? False claims and statements, whether in your motivation or something that's communicated on pack. This just shows a lack of authenticity and starts building distrust amongst the judges. So try and be authentic throughout your motivation, and remember that the judges are picked from various industries and backgrounds and have a wide range of expertise. So it's very easy to pick up the inaccurate claims. And as Bill said earlier, we fact check and yeah, I don't think there's ever been a year where we haven't made numerous calls during the judging process to just be sure. So be sure that whatever facts you put through or whatever statements you put through are actual fact. Secondly, any pack that's deemed irresponsible is a big red flag. So here we're talking about issues relating to design for recycling, sustainability, managing hazardous contents, adhering to labeling legislation. These are all taken as a given as they've been considered and addressed in the packaging. So you need to make sure that you've ticked all those boxes and there aren't any questionable issues in your pack. And then finally, poor samples. I covered samples earlier under the attention to detail and being very having a good look at the samples you send in. And we wanted to just reiterate that if the sample's damaged or broken by the time it reaches the judging table, and honestly, this does happen, it's an immediate non-starter, or showing poor print, poor sealing. I think in all these things, what it shows, and this is in the way your motivation's written, the way you've submitted your entry, the way you submit your samples, show pride and passion in your entry. And if any of that's lacking, the judges kind of think, well, why is it worth me spending my time really considering this pack if the entrant doesn't care that much? So yeah, I'm going to now hand back to Bill to take you through the mechanics of actually entering online.
Yes, thank you, Vanessa. As you say, I'm going to go through the mechanics of actually once you get onto the website. But it has gone through my mind while Vanessa was going through all that, is that it seems like such a daunting process. But remember what Vanessa is trying to cover, and my interruptions, is to try and cover every possibility. When you look at your own pack and your own entry, it should become simpler and a straightforward, straightforward is never straightforward, but a simpler process of actually presenting it. We trying to cover absolutely every eventuality from every angle, but you know your product, you know your entry. And again, I'm going to use that word magic, whatever that magic is that you're wanting to support it. I think the one valuable thing Vanessa said is to thinking holistically, about thinking throughout the supply chain of how that pack would perform. I mean, we've had entries before where it was a flash on the pack, which was it a QR code or something that you had to scan to actually see what the promotion was all about. But it was not operational anymore. The judges were not able to actually see how did it work and how did the packaging add value to the promotion. They really tried. We phoned, we did queries, we did whatever. And actually it did do all right, that particular pack, but it could have done better had the person putting the entry together thought about how is this magic going to be presented and evaluated by the judges. That's my thought. Just think about your particular case, and take that through to the end degree. Okay, I must get onto the mechanical process. So when you go into the website, which, as I said, is www.goldpack.org.za, and you find the entry form medal up at the top, you'll come into this page eventually. As a new user, you have to new user registration. You put your name, your last name, and your email address. You'll be sent an email to confirm your registration, and you put in your password and confirm your password. So that's just normal, just to make sure that we know we're dealing with a person and a real person and who we're dealing with. That person who's entered, and I'll come back to that about who that person can be. I'll clarify who that person can be. So when you first go in as a new entrant, a new registration, this is what you're going to see. The new entry button on the top left-hand side, and you'll see there's nothing filled in here. So you're going to put a new entry. You want to start the entry process. You click on that button. You're going to see this. This is a new entry. This particular page is once you've entered a few, you'll see your entries come up there, what they are, the name of the pack and the code of the pack. This is the page that you'll see once you have more than one entry already entered, whether it's in draft or submitted form. So when you go into and you're creating a new entry, this is starting at the top of the page. The name of the primary contact person regarding this entry, this is the person who's completing the entry form. And you'll see it's maybe different from the person just slightly lower. And who's the company name and telephone number of that contact person? We will pick up that contact person from where their registration is. We'll know your email address from the registration. So this is the same person who's filling in the entry form, who's registered on the website. Now we get to the curveball. If you want the members discount, Institute of Packaging members get a big discount for their entries. The discount on the very first entry is more than the annual subscription to the Institute of Packaging. So if you're not a member, I suggest you enter, you become a member and then enter, because your membership will be paid for with the discount that you get for your entry. Now that's a little hook. It's a bit of a blackmail to get you to join the Institute. So if you're going to claim the members discount, we need the name of the member. Now, it doesn't have to be the person submitting the form. It can be anybody in your company who happens to be a member of the Institute. We need their email address to check out who they are and their membership number. And you ask any Institute of Packaging person, what is your membership number? Vanessa, what's your membership number? She has no idea.
No way to find it.
If you look at the bottom of any email that you have received as a member, you will see your membership number is at the bottom of that email. If you get the Packaging and Print Media magazine, the label that is addressed to you has your membership number on it underneath your name. And if you fail that, you phone me or you email me, and I will tell you what your membership number is or what that person's membership number is. So there are a number of places to get it. But that's fine. I don't mind. Send me an email. I'll tell you the person's membership number. Without that membership number, the website will not apply the discount. So you will need that membership number accurately. So lower down on this form, you put the name of the pack entered. Here I appeal to you to make it a bit concise. We've had here a whole sentence describing what the pack is. It's very difficult. This is what we're going to use on all the correspondence to you about the pack. This is what's going to appear on the certificate. It's what's going to appear in the winner's brochure. So please make it concise and accurate, and the brand name of the product and maybe the pack size. But do we really care? It's the brand name of the product or something identifying what that product is, or perhaps even what the special feature of it is. The easy open laundry pack. How about this? The Tide easy open laundry pack could be. And then entered by. So who are going to be the entrants here? Anyone can enter this competition. It doesn't have to be a converter. It doesn't have to be a brand owner. Very often it's the brand designer. It can be a retailer. It can be anybody can enter. Who is that entrant? Who will we award the medal to? And it could be just the converter. The converter can put in here their name and their customer's name. So it can be the converter plus the brand owner could be put in here. Just take care what you put in here, because that's what's going to appear on the certificate and in the winner's brochure. year after year after year, when I say, congratulations, you're a finalist, this is what your certificate looked like, people say, oh, but that's not the name of our company. Where did I get it from? I got it from your entry form. The person entering didn't know the name of your company. Please put the name of the company as you want it publicized in here, and your joint entrance. So you can have 1, 2, 3, 4 people as the entrant here, even though you as the converter, you as the brand owner, or you as the pack designer entering the competition, you can put whatever you want here. Okay, so then you need to know whoever is putting that information in there is authorized to do it. Who is the person authorizing you? Because very often you get someone in a company filling in this entry form who's not really legally the representative of the company. So that particular person, the chap, has to put his boss's name in there because he's got the hospital pass of put the gold pack entry together. So he puts his boss's name in there, and 80% of the time, it'll be the same person filling in the entry form. And then from a legal point of view, we need what date you submitted this entry form, or submitted or created the entry form. That's because you're abiding by our rules, and that needs a dated contract. Believe it or not, this is a contract. And then you scroll down on the entry form. Now, the rules of the gold pack competition is no matter who enters the pack, whether it's the printer, the converter, the brand owner, the packaging designer, the retailer, or anyone else connected with the pack, we will always acknowledge the converter and the brand owner. This is an agreement with Packaging SA after many years of disputes, that we've agreed that no matter what, we will put big who the entrant is, or the entrants, if they're joint entrants, but smaller on the certificate and in any publicity, we will always acknowledge who converted the pack and who's the brand owner of the pack. So we need to have those names in there. Again, pay attention to what the name is. I'm surprised how many times a converter doesn't know who their customers, what their customer's real name is. They put in a nickname of their customer's brand, the brand owner. And afterwards, I'm the one who gets into trouble because I've called a brand owner by some funny name that they didn't know even existed. So please pay attention to what information you put in here. We are going to use it. You'll notice that some of the categories, some of the questions here have a red mandatory there. You have to fill in that information. Otherwise, you are there. This has gone back to it. This field is mandatory. We need information there. Otherwise, you will not be able to submit your entry. The next one is an optional one where you choose your category. So here, sometimes people are not sure. I get the question every year, I've got a milk powder. Is it a beverage or a food? Well, if you don't know, or you're not sure, you're not wanting to hang your hat on any particular one, don't put anything. We will decide for you, because you might put it into beverages and the judges will decide to move it into food. I mean, we've had it where it's been health, beauty, medical, and pharmaceuticals been put in there, and we've said, no, 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 this is a transit pack, and we've moved it. Why and under what conditions will the judges move your pack from one category to another? There's only one rule only. Will it do better in the category we are moving it to? So for instance, in health, beauty, medical, and pharmaceutical, this pack is not going to win a medal. But if I move it into transit, it'll win a medal. It's under those conditions, and only that condition, that we will move a pack from one category into another. If you've ticked a box here, we will put it into that box, but the judges reserve the right to move it only on the condition it'll do better in the other category. And how do you know that's the case? You just have to trust us. The same thing applies with the substrates. You choose what is the primary substrate of your pack, because very often there's many more than one. The plastic bottle will have a different type of substrate as a label, but which is the primary substrate for your entry? And what's very interesting here is very often a label manufacturer converter will enter a pack, but of course we want the whole pack. We want to see the label on the bottle. The judges will judge the bottle as well as the label. Why? Because they're wanting to see, does the label enhance and work together with the whole pack? So they judge it holistically. So they might actually say, well, this particular one is going to win a medal in the plastic category or the glass category, let's say. It's going to win in the glass category, but it's a paper label. But it's winning because that paper label is enhancing the glass pack. It does get very complicated. The judges will always do what will give the best outcome for the entrant. They will try hard to do that. So again, here, this is an optional one. You just to say which is the primary substrate of your entry. And then same thing with the Save Food Award. If you believe that your entry will qualify and pushes the buttons for Save Food, and on the Goldpack website, there's some clues about what is the Save Food, what are the issues that the judges look for. You tick that box and it'll make sure that the judges look for it as a Save Food. But honestly, more than 50% of the time, the judges themselves pick up and say, this particular pack would make a very good Save Food entry. And they then put it into Save Food themselves. As I said up when I showed you the entry form online judging before. Thanks, Vanessa. So then we've got the AfriStar Awards. Again, this is an optional thing to tick. We just want you to tick this box to highlight the fact that if it's an AfriStar Award, you can just go for only AfriStar and your entry will be free. And that is for packs that are converted outside of South Africa. It is possible for those converters or those entrants to enter at no charge into these awards, but they will only qualify for the AfriStar Awards. If they want to be considered for Goldpack Awards, they enter as a Goldpack Award, and we will always consider it for an AfriStar Award. If you look at the bottom, the next one is this packaging is produced in Africa but outside of South Africa, or the entry has been produced in South Africa and exported to an African country. If you give us that information, it allows us to categorize it. And last year, we had quite a few entries that won both a Goldpack medal and an AfriStar medal, and because we put it across, even though the person didn't tick this particular box. But you can help us by ticking these boxes if you understand and want to highlight the feature. But note, this is not going to stop you from entering if you are confused or not sure about it. And then we move on. Now we get to the meat of it all. This is the 50 words, which are key. I would say these are probably the main thing about your entry, is working out what are these 50 words you're going to say. Every judge will read those words more than once. They will read them online when they're judging, when they're scoring, and they will read them again when they're sitting in the room face to face. What's more than that, we read it to them. You're sick of my voice and Vanessa's voice this afternoon. After 3 days in the judging room, we read these 50 words to the judges for each and every single entry. Sometimes we have to tell them to keep quiet and listen because they start chatting amongst themselves, but we insist that they listen to these 50 words. If we think they're that important, I appeal to you to consider them that important as well. If you realize these 50 words can make or break your entry. Consider what you're going to say here. Where's the magic? Tell us what the magic is. Grab the judge's attention so that they want to engage with your entry more. This is where that can come in. Then you get into the motivation, and the way to look at these 300 words, it adds the meat to those 50 words. This is where you flesh out what those 50 words were and give the support for it, giving some real measurable information that the judges will be convinced and persuaded by, that's authentic and persuasive information supporting those 50 words. But we know that there's more to that as well. The next thing, of course, we want the visuals. We need photographs, we need visual representations of it. Now, what's interesting is you've sent us samples of your pack. They're in the room. We've got samples of the pack. Vanessa's even suggested put post-it notes on your sample saying, look at the easy open closure. Look how the label has enhances or fits with the shape of the bottle, or any such thing as that. Look how the packs fit into the transit pack. You can label it like that, but here you can show us in pictures to make sure that we don't miss it. So this is not only a beautiful picture of your pack, photographed with beautiful lighting in sort of 3 dimension, but also this is your opportunity to focus in on some features and illustrate what the features of the magic in your pack are. It says you must upload at least 2 files. There's nothing stopping you uploading 12. Okay, but of course we will choose the best picture to illustrate your pack, not only in that judge's judging form, but in the winner's brochure that Packaging and Print Media present. Then, of course, there's some people who want to throw the kitchen sink at us. They want to put spec sheets in and palette drawings and truck configurations and pictures of a litho printing machine, and we're not sure where to put this. So we've created this dustbin. Sorry, we've created this panel where you can upload all the kitchen sink stuff that you want to. The first panel, it's divided into 2. You can type your information or cut and paste the information here into that. You've got a maximum, of 1,000 words that you can put all this additional information in if you really believe it's necessary. And then if you've got PDFs, JPEGs, or any other format of file that you want to be able to make available to the judges, we've created this upload bin for you to put them into. As I say, if you engage with the judges, they will dig deeper and they will look for that information. So I'm being very cynical about it all, but sometimes it is necessary. It depends on your entry. And this is a new feature of our entry form. I've created a separate bin for it called the video bin that you can upload your videos to. Now, we've said maximum length 2 minutes. I've mentioned we expect 100 entries. So imagine now people put in promotional videos on their company and all the orientation videos that when you join a company, you learn about how wonderful the factory is, and they dump all these videos in there, and each one puts in 10 minutes of video times 100 entries. The judges are never going to get through them. So we're really asking you to keep these videos to the point. Show us the magic, and you can put them in here. This is a bit experimental. We're expecting some people to do iPhone videos on your iPhone, a WhatsApp video, and chuck it in here. If you've got the facility to do a better edited video, you've got access to it, that's cool. But this is a feature that, as Vanessa said, is giving you the opportunity to communicate visually and in moving pictures with the judges. And we've noted that 1 or 2 people have done it in the past. It's been very effective. And then here's the legal bit. We need the packaging converter's permission, no matter who the entrant is. We need to know that the converter is aware of the entry and is approving of it. So we need their name and their email address that if we feel we need to, we can contact them and say, are you aware of this entry? And same thing with the brand owner. The brand owner must be aware of the entry, and we often communicate with the brand owner to say, are you aware of this entry? And if they confirm yes, there's no problem. There is a reason why we do this, because we've burnt our fingers in the past. When a pack has been awarded a gold pack and we've had the converter saying, I knew nothing about that, how dare you enter it? Or the brand owner, worse still, the client, customers turned around and said, you had no right to enter that particular pack in gold pack. So we're the ones that get caught in the middle. So we insist on these approvals of the converter and the brand owner. And then we get to the bottom. We don't get, sorry, there's more. This is the pack samples. This is just telling you we need 2 empty packs, at least 2 empty packs, and 4 filled packs. Those of you who have entered before, that's an increase in the number of full packs that we've asked for before, because when we've asked for full packs, we've got too few. That what happens is when the judges are testing the easy open or the opening or the stackability of the pack, now they've run out of packs. They can't do it. So we're asking for 4 full packs samples for each entry. We have had it before that someone's got a range of, let's call them shampoos, with different fragrances. We really don't need 4 of every fragrance. We're looking for a representative group. And then if you want to show us the packs of all the different fragrance sorts of varieties, we're happy with 1 or 2 of all the others. If you do give us 4, that's fine. I think I'm still using shampoo from last year's gold pack. That's why my hair's standing up a bit like it is. So that's what it's all about. And then, of course, just a reminder that we need them by the 4th of August, please, that they delivered here to Syndicate Graphics. And if they are very valuable, that please, you've got to consider that you may not get them back. You must insure them yourself, and you can talk to us and we will do our best to make sure that they get back to you. If they, for instance, need special handling, they must be kept frozen. We do have facilities to keep them frozen, but you must alert us to the fact. Please just communicate with me. Let me know what your special handling requirements are for your pack samples, and we will do whatever we can with them, and to make sure that they get to the judges in perfect condition. But please note, we cannot guarantee that we will return these packs. In fact, we can't even offer to return the packs. The packs do get used, broken open in the judging process. So unless you send in 12 full packs of every single, there won't be any left over. Those 4 packs will be used, will be manipulated, handled by the judges, and won't be in any condition to send back to you. They use them as if they were a consumer. Thanks, Vanessa.
Great.
And then the World Star entry, that's really just a poll. Any pack, any entrant that becomes a finalist in the Gold Pack Awards is eligible to enter the World Stars. Why I've put this on the entry form is if you tell us you are interested in the World Stars, if you become a finalist, I will communicate with you what it takes and what you need to do to enter the World Stars. You will be told whether you're a finalist or not at beginning to the middle, at the latest of September. The World Star entries, the early entries, close at the end of September, Vanessa. Am I right?
Yes, that's right.
And
yeah.
if you early entry into the World Stars, you get a discount. Now, the World Star are costly. That discount is worth of money. So if we get our act together, you're a finalist, you want to enter the World Stars, you can get a discount into the World Stars. If you miss that deadline, you'll probably pay 10 or 20% more, and you can still enter the World Stars, but I will give you the information of how you go about doing it and how you enter the World Stars. The World Stars rely on us to have evaluated and judged your pack as international status. And that's why they do judge it, but believe in us. If you win a finalist medal in the gold packs, you are of international status. And the World Stars will accept you to enter the global competition because they value and have acknowledged the Gold Pack Awards. So that's just another point. Winning a finalist medal in the Gold Pack Awards is a big deal. It's not just lightly, it's not a gratuity. It is actually, you've crossed the hurdle. You are of a certain quality and a certain standard to have got there. And then we move on. We now want to submit the entry. You write at the bottom of the entry form and you save your entry, and you don't see a submit button. The giveaway is the red copy underneath. This particular example that you're seeing a screenshot of, the email address of the brand owner's representative has not been entered. And the website knows that. All the mandatory fields have to be entered, otherwise you will not be able to submit your entry. The optional ones, we're not worried about. So when you clear all your red comments at the bottom of the form, you will then see this at the bottom. Submit as complete. You can save it, you submit as complete, or you can just return to your entry list. So you submit as complete, and you click that button, and you'll go back to your list of your entries. And you'll see there that the one has been submitted, and the others are still in draft form. And you can go back and view that one that's in draft, that's been submitted. You could even edit it, and you can edit the other ones in draft and bring them up to speed. And you'll see that it's a running total at the bottom, what the entry fee is just for that one submitted entry at this stage. Then, thanks, Vanessa. We then go to, where you click, you want to create your invoice. There's a button there that says generate invoice. If you see at the bottom right-hand side of the screenshot, it says generate invoice. You can generate your own invoice. You put your company name, your address, and your own VAT number. You put it, that's how the invoice will be addressed. And if you've got more than one entry, they'll all be included as a list there, and you can select which entries you want to pay for. This is because the person entering might need an invoice addressed to one division of their company for these 3 entries, and for 2 entries, they need it addressed to a different division of their company. So this allows you can even generate 2 different invoices for the different entries. So you can tick which of your entries you want the invoice to include. And when you've got that information correct, you generate invoice, and that's what you will see when you generate your invoice. And you can look at all the details on the invoice, and if you're happy with it, you can proceed to the next step. If you're not, when you go to this here, you'll have a look, it'll see update the invoice, bottom right-hand side of the screenshot, update the invoice. You can go back and go through that process again and change the details on the invoice. If you're happy with the invoice, you can then go to download the invoice. If you see just above that, there's the invoice number, when it was last modified, and you can click that and it'll download your invoice that you can then submit to your accounts department to process as an EFT. However, you can also pay online if you want. You see the online payment. If you click on that one, you will then go to the PayFast portal, and it will tell you how much you're going to pay and for what you're going to pay, and you can choose your payment method. It accepts credit cards, Visas, MasterCard, and I think what's that other one, Diners. You can also do an EFT, that third from the top. It's very fuzzy on my screen, but you'll see that third one, you can do your EFT online from your bank if you want to. But most people, if they don't want to go through, perhaps the Institute of Packaging is not a vendor with your company, and you're going to put it through your own personal expense account, you can put it on your company credit card, and it can go through there, your personal credit card, and claim it as an expense from your company. So this facility that being able to pay with credit card is used by quite a few people. As you see, there are other payment methods as well, but mostly they're either Visa or MasterCard. And that's the payment method. So we've come, where are we now? It's not too bad, 4:20. We're doing all right, Vanessa. As I said at the beginning, at the intro, sponsors are still coming in as we kick into gear for this year's Goldpac Awards. We're getting more and more interest in sponsorship, and we're adding to this prestigious list of sponsors each day. So if you happen to be with a company that's not listed in this list at the moment, contact me, and you can get your name up there in lights with this prestigious group of South African companies, of people with interests in professional packaging companies. So now we're going to open it up, are we, Vanessa?
Yep.
Open up the Q&A.
We'll need to just...
Any questions, answers. So we're going to stop sharing screen and activate the Q&A facility on Zoom. If anybody does have any questions, they want us to reiterate or clarify anything, the Q&A section, it's not the chat room, but at the bottom of your screen on your Zoom, you should see a Q&A where you can ask a question if you want. But of course, I still make the offer that you can contact myself or Vanessa outside of this Zoom competition, this Zoom presentation. Email us with your particular questions or your particular issues or your concerns, and we will do what we can to facilitate your successful entry into the Goldpac Awards. We have recorded the session. We will just edit it, and we will email the link to everybody in the session. We'll email the recording link that you can go straight there, but it'll be also on the Institute of Packaging's YouTube channel. I will put embedded into the Goldpac Awards, goldpac.org.za website. And in actual fact, Vanessa said we should put it onto our IPSA website as well. So it'll be all over the place. But certainly the delegates in the room at the moment will be sent a direct email with the link as soon as it's available. Thank you very much. We appreciate your attention. We wish you all the best. And again, our doors open. Please contact us. We will do whatever we can to ensure your success in the Goldpac Awards.